The Democratic Republic of Congo is set to hold elections next week on Wednesday. The country has asked the United Nations peacekeeping mission there for help in transporting election materials, despite pushing for the mission to exit the country. In a letter seen by Reuters, the Kinshasa government asked the UN Security Council to allow MONUSCO troops to extend its logistical support to provinces other than the ones where the mission is based. There have been challenges in distributing the materials due to poor road infrastructure and an ongoing conflict in the east, where government forces are fighting rebels. MONUSCO is still present in 3 eastern provinces. It was deployed to help quell insecurity in a region where multiple armed groups fight over territory and resources. The country's government now wants the UN mission to leave, saying it has been unsuccessful in ending violence despite its nearly 20-year presence. Chris Chamringa is live for us in Kinshasa. He joins us now for more. So, Chris, the government has asked the UN mission for help in transporting materials for general elections next week. What more can you tell us about these and the general preparations for this election?
Well, so Penina, here's the backstory to this situation. Last week, the DRC's Electoral Commission wrote to the presidency asking for 4 planes and 10 helicopters to help them deliver electoral materials to some of the hard-to-reach areas across the country. You know, the DRC is the second largest country in Africa, but it has very poor roads, so they have been facing challenges in delivering some of these electoral materials. So the DRC presidency did not have the budget and asked the government to request the Angolan government to help the authorities here to be able to get planes. But according to some diplomatic sources who were privy to this correspondence, the Angolan authorities said the notice that was given to them was very short and they couldn't help. So 3 days ago, the DRC government wrote to the United Nations Security Council asking them, to authorize the UN peacekeeping mission, which is known as MONUSCO, to help them with their planes to deliver some of these electoral materials to the hard-to-reach area. According to the MONUSCO spokesperson, one of their mandates, part of the mandate of the UN peacekeeping mission here is to help the DRC to organize its elections. And they said that they have already been delivering hundreds of tons of electoral materials to areas where they are mandated to operate, namely South Kivu, North Kivu and Ituri provinces. They have been limited to operate in that area because of that mandate. And so they are saying that because the DRC government wrote to the United Nations Security Council, they'll have to wait for the response from the officials in New York for them to decide on how they're going to help the DRC to deliver these electoral materials.
Right,
Penina?
Chris. Okay, so what security plans has the government made to make sure elections and they run smoothly across the country and especially in Eastern DRC?
So the government says that it plans to deploy police and soldiers across all the polling centers in the country, and especially in those areas where conflict has been raging for quite a long time, namely Ituri, North Kivu and South Kivu province. They plan to beef up the security in that area because there's a lot of armed activity, and also to prevent rival supporters of different camps from fighting. But we've also been told that there's not going to be any voting in 3 areas, particularly in North Kivu, that there's Masisi and Ruchuru territory. These are areas that are controlled by the M23 rebels. And then there's another area known as Kwamuth in the western part of DRC, in a province known as Mai-Ndombe, where there's also been tribal clashes between the Teke and the Yaka. There's not going to be any voting in those 3 areas. And many people in the DRC, have been calling on the government to do much more to ensure that they vote. But about 1 million people, we've been told, are going to miss out this very crucial election in the DRC.